Okay, so I went ahead and broke this setup into two videos because they're a little long, and you've already completed two problems, and we're going to do two more. We're going to look at two more problems here that are just a little bit more complicated. So take a deep breath and let's think. I still have one equation solved, and what does that mean? Well, it means that I have something here that says x equals. And you're like, but it doesn't say y equals. Okay, it doesn't really matter. As long as I know what something is. And x is definitely a variable that we can use. So x is, that's what that equal sign means, 4y plus 7. So I could put that exactly where x is. That's the key. You got to plug in what you do know exactly where it belongs. So I'm going to go ahead to, now again, that's multiplication, so I'm going to put parentheses, 4y plus 7. I'm going to go ahead and subtract that 6y equals 12. Again, now instead of solving for x, we're solving for y. That's the tricky part. They both have y, so we're good to go. Distribution. 2 times 4y is 8y. 2 times positive 7 is positive 14. I still have to subtract 6y, and I have equals 12. Is there anything else I can do? Is there any more simplification that can happen before we start moving? And yeah, I have two like terms. See, I got that 8y and that negative 6y. When I combine 8y and negative 6y, I have 2y. Still have that constant. Remember the number without a variable. I'm going to put it right there. And finish writing my equation. Finally, something that looks familiar. Here's a two-step. We're going to move the constant first. We're going to undo that. Keep the 2y. The 14s will cancel, equals, well, 12 minus 14 is negative 2. Still solving for y, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. And y equals, well, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So I'm halfway there. Careful, that's the y, not the x. Yeah, that's going to be the number one. You'll flip it. That's the y. Now we got to go find the x. And we have this nice little equation right here that says x is, well, that's going to make that easier. X is 4y plus 7. Well, we know y is negative 1, so let's plug it in. Y equals 4 times negative 1 plus 7. Okay, so x equals, well, 4 times negative 1, that's negative 4 plus 7. That means x would equal, well, negative 4 plus 7 is 3. So now I have a value for 3. You can always go back and double check these. And if you plug them back in, you'll know if your answer is correct or incorrect. So like if I put 3 in for x here, 2 times 3 is 6. Now remember that y was negative 1, so negative 6 times negative 1, well, that would be 6 because they're both negative, and 6 plus 6 equals 12. That's the best part. Mathematicians, we can always check our work before we turn it in. Amazing. Okay, one more problem in this set. We have y equals 4x minus 2, and we have x minus y equals negative 1. We know something. We know what y is. It says so. Y is. Well, I'm going to take what y is, and I'm going to plug it right on in here. Now watch very carefully. X minus. Do you see what I did? I opened up parentheses. You're like, why did you do that? Remember, this is actually negative 1y. We just don't write the 1. So we're taking a negative 1 times whatever y could be, and y is 4x minus 2. Be careful with this. If it just says subtract y, parentheses, because we need to distribute that negative 1. So x, that would be minus 4x, plus 2, we're distributing, equals negative 1. Like terms, x and negative 4x provide us with negative 3x when we combine. Oh, yay. Two-step equation. Moving that constant. It's kind of like the last round of last lap of a mile. It's like, ooh, this looks very familiar. Negative 3x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 3. What we do to one side, we do to the other, and therefore x is going to equal, well, negative divided by negative is a positive, so it looks like positive 1. Okay, now this is the x. Make sure I put it in the x value spot. Now let's go find the y. Does it matter which one? Absolutely not. You go for either one. I'm going to use the top one because it looks easier, because it already has y equals. So 4 times 1, right? That's 4x minus 2. That would be 4 minus 2, and that would mean y equals 2. And I'd put this here. That would be my my buried treasure. That's my XY, that's my coordinate. Now I can always double check that. If I wanted to, I can come back here and go, okay, X minus Y. That'd be 1 minus 2. Is 1 minus 2 equal negative 1? Yeah. So again, as mathematicians, when we are working with systems of equations, it's taking what we know from one equation, substituting it into the next equation, where you can find one variable. You're going to find either the X or the Y. Once you know the X or the Y, well, then you can plug it back into one of the equations and find the other variable. This is all about taking what you do know to find what you don't know. So one step at a time.